What's going on, YouTube? This is SG1 Sports, and we're going to kick off our SEC predictions here with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Going to predict each game of their schedule with the new 10-game conference-only schedule for the 2020 college football season. Alabama's a team I'm very high on offensively. They should be very dangerous once again. Mac Jones back at quarterback. He's not Tua Tagovailoa, but still a very solid quarterback, and he has a lot around him on the offensive line. They're going to be great. Skill position, great. And you've got Bryce Young in there as well, who might step in. So you got a couple of options at quarterback if things need to go that way for them. And defensively, that's where I really like Alabama. I think the injuries have really took a toll on them. But this year, with Dylan Moses back and all of the experience they have back at linebacker, that position specifically, they are going to be much better, much improved on that side of the ball and get back to playing that normal Nick Saban Alabama defense that we've seen in the past. That's why I'm really high on Alabama, because I think they're going to have an explosive offense, but now they get that elite defense back to go with it, and it makes this team very dangerous. Only question mark really for me is the secondary. The depth there could be an issue for them, but still I think this team is going to be really, really good. This is the schedule, the new schedule with the conference-only games. They open up with Missouri on September 26th on the road. I don't think this game will be a challenge at all for Alabama. I'm just not big on Missouri. I know the game is on the road, but I think that's going to be an easy win. I think, it's week one, so you might see some sloppiness. You might see some mistakes, but I think Alabama still will take care of business, probably win that game by 20 plus. This next game is going to be an interesting matchup on October the 3rd against Texas A&M. The game is at home for Alabama, and I think they're going to have roughly 20,000 fans, so it's not like it's going to be the normal home field advantage, but still, it's going to be an advantage. Texas A&M, though, is a veteran team, veteran quarterback in Kellen Mond. Really, across the board, A&M is going to be a very good team. They don't have any big weaknesses. I just think Alabama, though, is a little bit better. They're playing at home. I think they get the win, but I think this is a close game. I would say it's going to be about a 10-point game, but Alabama will get the win and move on to 2-0. Next game is against Ole Miss. Interesting matchup here against Lane Kiffin, obviously, on the road. Kiffin and Ole Miss should be very good offensively. I know the offseason wasn't normal and no spring football, really, so it may take them a little bit of time, and because of that, I think Alabama does win this game pretty easily. Ole Miss, I think, is going to be a team that you don't want to play late in the year, but early on, maybe they still haven't quite figured it out. So I think Alabama wins that game. They move on to 3-0. On October 17th, they will play Georgia, maybe the biggest game of the year in college football this year. It is going to be a huge matchup. No Jamie Newman for Georgia, but they still have JT Daniels, who is a very talented passer. I'm pretty sure he'll be cleared to play by this time. And Georgia defense. I talked about Alabama's defense and them getting back to that elite level. Georgia's going to be at that elite level. I can pretty much guarantee it. I think this is the best defense in the country. The game is at home for Alabama. I think it's a very low-scoring game. Similar, not 9-6, but kind of similar to that Alabama-LSU game of the century from about 10 years ago. But I think Alabama at home will get it done. I think they make some plays on offense, and their defense has a big day playing at home. They win a close game, a one-score game, but they get the win over Georgia at home. They'll move on to face Tennessee on October 24th. This game is on the road for Alabama, and another place. I think they're going to have closer to like 25,000 fans at Tennessee. But I'm not really – a lot of people high on Tennessee. I'm not quite that high on them. I don't think they're there yet, and I really don't think this game will be all that close. I think Alabama will win it fairly easily. It might be a game that's kind of close at halftime, but I think Alabama does pull away in the second half. So we'll go with the Tide, and they move on to 5-0 before playing Mississippi State. Going to face that air raid offense of Mike Leach. And I talked about it with Alabama. That could be their weakness, the secondary. So this could be a game that challenges them a little bit on that side of the ball, but I'm not big on Mississippi State. I think they lost too much on defense. I think Alabama will score a lot of points in this game. They pull away in the second half and get the win to move on to 6-0. Next game is going to be on the road at LSU. November 14th, they'll have a bye week before playing this game. LSU just lost so much talent. I don't see them being able to compete with Alabama. Even in Death Valley, now if it was a packed stadium and you had a night game in Death Valley, full stadium, might be a little bit more of a challenge for Alabama, but it's not going to be that kind of atmosphere. I'm sure it'll be on the road. It'll be a tough game, but I think Alabama is just too much. I think they win this game, and I really don't think it'll be a one-possession game. I think they win. I would say closer to 17 to 20 points. I really think they're going to go in there and make a statement, especially after the loss last year. We know Saban very good in those revenge games. Next game is against Kentucky on November 21st at home for Alabama. This could be a tricky game here. It's right before the Iron Bowl, right after LSU, and you're facing a very good, very solid Kentucky team. Going to be very strong on the offensive line. I don't know, though, if anyone is going to be able to run the football in Alabama. If there was a team that was going to be able to do it, it would be Kentucky. But still, I think you don't have that balance. You don't have that passing attack. If you're Kentucky, the offense will struggle. It's a lower scoring game, fairly close, but I do like Alabama to get the win and move on to 8-0. Next game, it's the Iron Bowl. November 28th. That's when they were supposed to play, even though it's not the last game of the year. So it's kind of weird not being the final game of the regular season. Auburn is a team that has a lot of question marks. Let's just say that. Alabama, revenge again is going to be on their minds. They're playing at home. I just don't like Auburn's chances in this game. I think Alabama wins it. It's similar to that LSU game. They'll be so motivated. The revenge factor is going to be there. That defense should have a big day. Auburn's going to have a new offensive line. So I like Alabama to win this game by 17 to 20 points. Like I said, it's, to me, not going to be a real close game. And then we have Arkansas at the end of the season on the road. Arkansas still has a long ways to go, in my opinion. I don't expect this game to be close at all. I think Alabama will roll in this one, roll all the way to 10-0. So when you look at the schedule, I think Georgia, right before playing Tennessee, Georgia is going to be the toughest game on the schedule. And I actually think Texas A&M might be the next toughest game. Georgia and Texas A&M early on, again, a lot of question marks with teams without the normal offseason. Might take them a few weeks to get going. So those are the games I think that could potentially trip up Alabama. I'm actually not as concerned about LSU or Auburn. I just think late in the year, Nick Saban will have this team playing so well, and I just think they're going to be the better teams in those two matchups. So I think Georgia and A&M will be the challenges for Alabama, but even still, I think Alabama probably wins those games by 10 points or maybe more. So I think Georgia might be a little bit closer. Maybe that's a one-score game. That would be, I guess, the one game that could be a down-to-the-wire one-possession type game. But I think overall, Alabama has a pretty easy run to the SEC Championship, a 10-0 season for the Tide. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more here on the SG1 Sports SEC Football Channel.